What's up, class? It's just Mr. Walker coming at you with our rest of our notes. So, this video is going to cover specifically this set of notes, okay? It's one page, front and back. You're obviously going to fold it here, make a little booklet, and let's talk about it. So, in our previous video, hopefully you've looked at it, we talked about a little bit of everything involving absolute value, okay? We talked about different expressions with it, how to solve equations, and also what solutions we might need to look for. In some cases, we have two solutions that work completely. In other cases, we might have either no solution or we might have a solution that may work or may not work, depending on whether or not you checked it. I'm leaving that one up to you. So let's go through. We're going to take a look at a couple of these together with this. Now, this set of notes here is mainly practice for you so that you can get used to how the solving method works, okay? So, just like how we've dealt with solving equations in the past, we got a couple that involve one step, maybe two or more steps, and then obviously a little bit more. These go up a little bit as you go on. All right. Sorry about that. My mouse is kind of going all off the rails. All right, let's talk about what's going to break down on this. So we are going to go through three examples. Example one up here at the top here on the front. The second one over here inside on the top on the left. And we're going to go through one of these more complicated ones, just so you could understand the process of it. It's not really complicated per se, but I want to make sure that you are aware of how to do it. And let's venture off into our first one, folks. All right, so our first one is talking about the absolute value of x equals 3. Now, if you remember from the last time when we talked about absolute value, the main thing we need to remember is that absolute value is always positive. Always positive, okay? So if it's not positive when you go through and get your answer, make sure that it is, all right? So absolute value is always positive for us. So for this, we know that whatever the answer of this inside of here will give us positive 3. So the way that we go about solving this is we are going to take our expression that's inside of the brackets, our x, and we're going to rewrite this in two separate equations. Now, we're just writing the x. We're going to not have to rewrite these absolute value bars. So we're looking for the two numbers that give us 3 when we take the absolute value of it. In this case, there's only 2. We're going to take what's over here, 3, and we're going to set it equal to x in both of our ways. We have over here, we're going to have positive 3. And over here, we have one more type of 3 that'll give us positive 3, and that is negative 3. Positive and negative 3 are the two numbers that when we take the absolute value of it, will give us positive 3. So, luckily for us, that's all it is in terms of the steps to solve this. We don't necessarily have anything else that we need to solve. Now, the last thing that we're going to do, we're going to just put this up on the number line. So, here's 0. Now, both of these numbers here, both of our solutions, are the same distance away from 0, like how we talked in the last video. Absolute value is just the distance from 0 to that number. So, both of these are 3 spaces away. Both of them are 3 over here and 3 over here. So these are both of our solutions. I figured the number line might help you guys be able to, more readily understand this. Now, we're going to take a look at our next one. You're going to kind of see how this number line kind of kicks in a little more to make sense in terms of the space with this. So, for this one right here, we got the absolute value of x minus 1 equals 2. Now, just like we did before, we're going to have to set up two different equations here. One of our equations is going to be set up to the positive solution that we have here, 2. The other one's going to be set up to the negative solution that we have here, which is -2. And these two things, 2 and -2, are both equal to what is inside of our bracket. So x minus 1. Now, both of these are pretty simple. This is just a one-step equation. So now we have operations that we need to go through and do. We need to go through and get x by itself. So obviously right now, x is being subtracted by 1. The opposite of that is us adding. Ooh, sorry, my fault. That's supposed to be a 1. Adding by 1. So I'm going to add both sides of my equation here by 1. Now both of these will give us a different solution. So over here on the left side in our left equation, x is now by itself because these ones here cancel out each other. That's left with 2 plus 1, which is 3. Now over here, the same thing happens with our two ones. They both cancel out, leaving us with just x. Now over here, we got -2 plus 1, which is going to give us a -1. All right, so now that we got both of these, remember we got -1 is over here, and 3 is right here. Now, these are two different solutions. Now, in terms of distance from 0, these aren't exactly what we're looking for. That is the same distance from 0. We're looking for the absolute value of x minus 1. Now, if I plug these in there, these should work, hopefully. So let's go through, let's check. On one side, we got -1 plus 1. Is that it? No, minus 1. -1 minus 1. And we're taking the absolute value of that equals 2. Now, -1 minus 1 is -2. And the absolute value of -2 is 2. So that checks. Now, the other one that we have is 3. So we have 3 in our absolute value brackets minus 1. And that equals 2, hopefully. Now, 3 minus 1 is 2. So the absolute value of 2 is in fact 2. So this also checks out. It's always important for us to go through and we want to check to see if our answers actually end up working. Okay? So we did a simple one. We did one that's still simple, but has a little more steps. Let's take a look at one that involves one more step. Now, for this equation here, we still have an absolute value that we have to go through and deal with, and we are also going to split up into two different equations. The difference is, though, you see I gave you an extra bit of space up here up top. This 3 is something that we need to deal with before we deal with the absolute value. In the past, you just had absolute value of the number equals whatever is on this side. Because this 3 is here, we need to move this to the other side to really find our solution. So, first thing we're going to do, right now we're adding 3 to this absolute value. The opposite of that is subtracting 3. When we do this, what it's going to do is it's going to take x minus 2 that's inside of our brackets here. It's going to make it by itself, and that's going to equal what's all on the other side, which is 2 in this case. Now that we got it like this equation is very similar to how we solved this one over here. So we got two equations that we're going to split up into. One of them is going to equal 2. The other one's going to equal -2. So I have x minus 2 equals 2. And then I have x minus 2 equals -2. Now, both of these have the same first step. Both of them are being subtracted by 2. So we're going to add by 2. Alrighty, so over here, x is now by itself because these twos cancel out. And that equals a +4 for our answer. Over here, these two cancel out. And that leaves me with x equaling a 0. So I have two solutions. One of them is 0. and the other one is 4. So let's check to see if both of these work. So to the side, we're going to just check this out. If I have 0 in there, that is 0 minus 2, the absolute value of those two, plus 3. And this should equal 5. Now, the absolute value of 0 minus 2, that's just negative 2. The absolute value of that is 2. And 2 plus 3 is in fact 5. So that checks off. We're straight. Let's check out 4 now. So inside we got 4 minus 2 plus 3. Now, if this equals 5, that should work out. Now, 4 minus 2, that's 2. The absolute value of 2 is just 2 right here. And 2 plus 3 does in fact equaling 5. Now, I did 3 of these. That means that you guys are responsible. Oop, I meant to click this. You guys are responsible for the rest of these questions here. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is practice. You also have a practice assignment for Wednesday for you if you have not already completed that. Shouts to those of you that have, and I'll catch you guys on Thursday. All right, y'all have a good day. See ya.